So if you guys have watched my channel, you definitely know that I'm really interested in really songwriting and production. But production is really where I have a lot of fun, getting into Logic, recording stuff, and just seeing what I can come up with. Now, as somebody who produces their own music, I have to really do a lot of research and learn from a lot of other people. And when you're doing your own instrumentation, sometimes things like recording guitars in time, or pianos or anything like that, it can be difficult. Now, the instrument that I really play the most is guitar, and I love it. It's very fun. I love songwriting using a guitar. There's something really special about that. Sometimes when you're recording things, it's hard to get things in time. And today I want to talk about Jeff Lynne and how important he is as a producer. I mean, he's produced some incredible records. He's produced a lot of Tom Petty stuff, Full Moon Fever, Into the Great Wide Open, George Harrison, Cloud 9, the stuff with the Wilburys, and then you also have his own band ELO, which is amazing. Now I want to talk about specifically Full Moon Fever, which you have the song Free Fallin' on. And I was listening to a conversation, I believe it was between Rick Rubin and Mike Campbell, who is the lead guitar player and really contributed a lot to Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. So in this conversation between Rick Rubin and Mike Campbell, which I love Rick Rubin too, he actually went on to produce Wildflowers, which is an amazing Tom Petty record, one of my favorites. But Rick was asking Mike Campbell about Jeff Lynne's production style and maybe what were some of the things he was doing that other people don't do normally.
What was the order of events that he
Okay, here's how here's the Jeff Lynne, sorry Jeff.
the formula?
The formula which no one can touch you, so I can say this. We would go in, the song was written on acoustic guitar, we'd learn it, okay, let's go, we'd get one secret to that formula is we used a drum machine because we didn't have a drummer, it was just the three of us. But the drum machine was dead simple. Just boom, boom,
The simplest possible
no
pattern.
bump, nothing. It's boom, boom. So it leaves plenty of room for other rhythms, other basses. You can change it later, but to start with, just basically a metronome, but with a drum machine with good sounds.
So let me show you what I mean. Right now, I'm in Logic Pro, and I have these two rhythm tracks, but what I was having trouble with was actually getting them perfectly in time because I was adding production like drums after the fact of recording the guitars, and it just really wasn't syncing up properly because sometimes I just kind of get lost in the metronome and I don't always know exactly where I am, which, you know, really isn't a good thing. I need to work on that. But anyway, a way to get around that is actually bringing in a drum loop first. And then if you know your bass line too, that's actually very helpful. So what I was doing is I brought in this drum loop right here. Now I know the chords to the song, so I can just put in a very simple bass line here too. So you can see how this would be very helpful because it keeps everything in time, and a lot of time, I mean, there's a little swing happening with these drums, but a lot of times these drum loops are quantized, and especially if you're making your own, you can make sure of that with just a simple kick and snare pattern. So the next thing I did was I actually added the acoustic guitars, and I did have this in the beginning here too, but then what you can do is actually start producing and moving the drum loops around and arranging your song properly. So this is with the acoustic guitars. So you can tell everything is perfectly in time. It sounds really good. And when I did it before and I had just recorded the acoustic guitars, I just wasn't getting the same results. I'd bring in drums and it just wasn't perfectly in time. I don't know why. I just like playing to actual drums and drum loops a lot more than just a metronome. I feel like I do better and keep things more in time. Now there's more to what Jeff did than just that. He actually would add drums as he saw fit. So he'd have a very simple kick snare pattern, and then they would have live instrumentation. So they'd have a snare drum, they'd have a kick, they'd have toms, things like that, and they would actually play them in as they saw fit. So if something needed a caveman or something, they would just add it in and it would add to the production. And what this does is creates efficiency. You can create projects a hell of a lot faster than trying to get the perfect take for drums or trying to get the perfect take for guitars right off the bat. If you already have the drums, then I mean, you got the drums and bass, you can put the guitar over it in the rhythm sections pretty easily. Well, I hope you guys got something out of this video. I know that I learned a lot from just listening to Rick and Mike have that conversation about production and Jeff Lynne's style of production. You can learn so much just by listening to other producers. So if you're feeling stuck, definitely go listen to some of your favorite producers, or go to your favorite record and better yet, find out who the producer is and just see if they have any tips, because a lot of times, I mean, stuff is so available on YouTube today. You can learn so much from these people. So if you like the video, please subscribe to the channel. I'm going to do more content like this. And yeah, this is kind of the beginning of a song that I'm working on, so stay tuned for that as well. See you in the next one.